Now available in paperback and e-readers, Spinsterella Goth Girl Summer. Take a trip into the macabre world of goth modeling in the new millennium in this spooktacular Spinsterella story. Pick up your copy of Spinsterella Goth Girl Summer in paperback and e-readers at Amazon.com and online booksellers everywhere. Better get the coleslaw, y'all, cause we're having us a barbecue. In a previous video, one of my viewers detailed her horrific experiences with a nice guy. And in this video, I wanted to go in depth on the damage that nice guys do to women when they get involved with them. Now, when it comes down to these so-called nice guys, they're not nice at all, and they do more damage to any woman that they get involved with than a pookie, than a womanizer or a player, because in the case of Pookie, the womanizer, or the other sort of bad boys that are out there, at least they're honest about how they behave and they're upfront with the women that they get involved with. However, the nice guy is one who is more insidious, and he basically hides his lies behind a veneer of so-called honesty and truth. And that's what causes the nice guy to do more damage to most women that they get involved with, because everything about the nice guy is based on lies. And even worse, what happens to this nice guy is that he believes that he is justified to be able to tell those lies because he's so-called quote-unquote good. And because he believes that he is good, he believes that he's entitled to treat that woman any way that he wants. And basically because he lives in a rose-colored reality where everything is distorted to make himself appear to be so-called better than what he is, he goes out here and lives in a world of lies that he tells to himself. And as he lives in that world of lies that he tells to himself, he doesn't really care about the damage he inflicts to people, because he's not really being honest with himself as related to the real reasons why he wants a relationship with any woman. Now, when it comes to the nice guy really isn't nice as related to his reasons for wanting to be involved with any woman. No, when it comes down to the nice guy, again, because he lives in a rose-colored reality where everything is distorted, he doesn't see a woman as a person. No, he sees a woman as an object and sees her as an object of his affection. And as he sees her as this object of affection, he basically sees her as a way to just go out here and elevate his own social status, which he feels inadequate about because he's really insecure about himself. And as he's insecure about himself as a man, he wants to go out here and use a woman to be an attachment that he thinks will make him a better man in the actual world. However, in the case of the actual world, the only thing that will improve a man is him going out here and working on himself. But the nice guy doesn't believe he has to go out here and work on himself because he believes he is good. And because he believes he is good, he believes that basically it's other people who need to acknowledge his good. And that's where he thinks that he's entitled to have a relationship with a woman, because he believes he is good and he believes he deserves a relationship with a woman just because he is the so-called good guy. And as he's the good guy, again, he's telling this lie to himself. And as he tells this lie to himself, what happens to the nice guy is that he believes he doesn't have to be someone who has to be straightforward and direct the way a man has to be. No, when it comes to the nice guy, he believes that people are supposed to know he's supposed to be interested in them. And he basically, again, thinks that because he believes people are supposed to know, he goes out here looking to go out here and come in sideways, and looks to come in sideways through a side door that he believes he is supposed to be specially supposed to come through. And when it comes down to these nice guys, again, they want to call themselves being a woman's friend and not looking to be their boyfriend. He thinks he can work his way up to being a boyfriend. Really what it is that he wants to muster up his courage in order to try to express his feelings, but he thinks that if he enters the friend zone, he can show how good of a man he can be in a covert contract. Again, the woman never agreed to be interested in him because he never expressed this clearly to her. No, what he did was go out here and look to be this woman's friend. And as he looks to go out here and do a series of good deeds as a friend, what he does is go out here and look to hope that the woman sees how good he is, and then eventually he can go out here and segue this into being his girlfriend. And that whole approach in and of itself is where the trauma starts for most of the women that the nice guy gets involved with. This is where the trauma winds up starting. The trauma winds up starting because this guy basically is extremely dishonest from minute one. And as he's dishonest from minute one, what the nice guy does is basically look to gain this woman's trust as related to being this friend. And as he looks to gain this woman's trust as related to being her friend, what happens with the nice guy is that as he's being the friend, what happens is that the woman is expecting to have one type of relationship with this guy based on the parameters he set up. And then as they start to get close that way, what he hopes to do is go out here and shift the gears. And this is where the woman starts to realize that this guy was an even worse liar than the womanizer, than the pookie, than the player, because at least in the case of the womanizer, the pookie, and the player, all of those guys were basically being honest and upfront. They were basically saying, hey, I want to go out with you. I want to go out here and get you to come back to my pad, go out here and drop them skid mark draws and allow him to get a taste of the atomic waste from the special place. That's what those guys were saying. They wanted to go out here and get with this woman sexually, and they were open and upfront about it. And that's where the trauma really starts with the nice guy, because he's presenting himself as this asexualized idea, but then says he wants to be sexual, and that basically starts to creep this woman out, and it really creeps her out because this guy, again, presented himself as trying to be this so-called good guy, when in actuality he was just as dirty and grimy as the other guys out here. And again, that really breaks a woman's trust, and that causes serious trauma for that woman, and that trauma leads to that woman becoming really jaded as related to other guys, because when it comes down to that woman basically, again, allowed herself to be vulnerable with this guy, thinking things were going to be different, when in actuality this guy never wanted to be a friend in the first place. No, he was looking to use this woman in the exact same way that the other guys did, but those guys, again, were upfront, so she can respect those men because they had the backbone and the stones to go out here and be honest with that woman. They have the honesty to go out here and say what they really were and state their intentions up front. And that's why a lot of women will go out here and respect a bad boy, a thug, a player, or a womanizer, because at least they were honest as related to what they wanted. But the nice guy, again, really upsets women because he goes out here and lies to that woman because he's told the lie to himself. And as he's told the lie to himself, this is basically why he can convince you, oh, he wants to be a friend, when in actuality he never wanted to be a friend in the first place. And the whole thing that really further traumatizes women after the lie that he is told is that some of these guys, again, really have no understanding of how to function as men, because another case of nice guys is that they don't know how to function as men, and they hope to come in sideways because they're hoping to avoid rejection, because under their covert contract they believe, oh, if I come in as a friend, then she won't say no. But the whole thing is that when these guys get rejected, that's when the Dr. Jekyll becomes Mr. Hyde, and that's when the monster comes out in these guys, like the viewer experienced this is where Mr. Hyde comes out and the monster comes out, because he doesn't know how to navigate through his emotions when a woman says no. No, when the woman says no, that's when this guy basically expresses all of the frustration he had with himself, not with the woman, because when it comes down to these guys, they have a lot of frustration in themselves in that they don't have the confidence or the courage to go out here and approach this woman directly. No, they have to muster up the courage to just try to be her friend, but they don't have the confidence or the courage, and that leads to these men simmering and boiling in anger. And as they simmer and boil in anger, this is where they basically are a cauldron of frustration. And when they finally get the courage to express their actual feelings towards that woman after coming in sideways, this is where these guys explode in rage. And when they explode in rage, that's when this woman is shocked to see the monster come out of this man. And as the monster comes out of this man, they basically are terrified at what they're seeing. And this is where these men escalate their behavior into a spectrum of violent behaviors. Now, this spectrum of violent behaviors that these guys participate in can be anything from a screaming fit, or what my viewer wound up experiencing, where this guy not only was in a screaming fit, but then went out here stalking and harassing them because they thought, oh, if I continue to go out here and try to, again, present myself in this way, I can maintain a relationship where if I can't be a friend, I'll be an adversary. Or in some cases, what these guys will do when they're rejected is they'll start going out here and looking to be what they call so-called persistent. And what they don't see is that the way that they're being so-called persistent basically is showing how just disturbed these guys are, because instead of taking no for an answer, what these guys do is continue to do the exact same things and then hope to get a different result. Now, the rest of the world calls this insanity, but when it comes to these guys, they'll continue doing the exact same thing, continuing to go out here and bomb somebody's phone with text messages, or continue to blow up their phone with constantly calling them or showing up at their job. And what they don't see is, how they're violating this woman's boundaries. And as they violate this woman's boundaries by coming to her job, coming to her home, and doing things like sending her all of these gifts that she didn't want, they don't see how this is harassment, and they don't see how being so persistent can escalate into criminal behavior such as stalking. And again, this basically, further creeps the woman out and basically freaks the woman out, because now she's in fear for her life and her safety, because this guy, again, as he's caught up in his feelings about his ideas about this woman, not who she really is, because what really messes up a lot of nice guys is that they have an idea about this woman, a fantasy they've created in their head regarding the relationship that they want to have with them. They have a fantasy they've created, and since they want to see that fantasy fulfilled, what that does is make it where all they're focused on is the fantasy and not the real expressions that this woman has as related to being terrified about being in the presence of this man, being terrified about being in his presence, because he's thinking, oh, I am good, I'm the good guy, I'm trying to do what is good for this woman, but he's not thinking about how this woman is feeling about all the disturbing approaches this man has participated in. Now, the disturbing approaches this man has participated in have basically creeped this woman out, and she's fearing for her life and her safety. And this is the trauma this guy can't see, because he's so caught up in his emotions about what he wants. He can't think about somebody else. And that's where the nice guys, again, do more damage to women than the player, the womanizer, and the thug. Again, at least those guys are honest. And again, when they go out here, again, they're upfront about things. And the woman already knows, okay, this guy got some issues, but he's upfront about things. And in some cases, at least, is trying to work on stuff. But the nice guy believes he has no flaws. And the irony is that he's the one with serious issues. He says he's got serious issues because he doesn't understand boundaries. He doesn't understand how to respect another person. He does not know how to treat another person. And he's further escalating his behavior. And that's where his behavior starts to get into violence. And as it starts to get into violence, because he doesn't see that woman as a person, he sees her as someone, as an object, denying him his right to go out here and be able to do what he wants. This is where he goes from stalking to believing he's justified in harming someone, and believed in justifying in harming someone because he's not getting what he wants. And even worse than dealing with a nice guy as related to an adversarial relationship is being in a relationship with a nice guy. This is where many women wind up becoming severely traumatized, because the worst relationship you could ever have is with a nice guy, because a nice guy in the beginning, it looks like he's showing you affection by doing things like calling you up for no reason and sending you gifts. But what he's doing is expressing his insecurity because he doesn't believe he is capable of maintaining a relationship with you. And what he wants to do is shower you with gifts and attention, because what he wants to do is feel secure about his relationship. Because in some cases, when it comes to those nice guys who wind up in relationships, they don't believe they deserve the woman that they have, and they don't really believe that they deserve her. So what they do is go out here and look to go out here and offer her so many gifts in an effort to bribe her into staying in a relationship, and looks to continue to be constantly validated. This is why these guys blow up a woman's phone saying, hey, I just called you just to see how you're doing. I mean, that's stuff that nice guys go out here and do because they are insecure about the status of their relationship, and they don't trust their woman that they're with to basically be committed to them. So they just continue to call up this woman every day. And again, that's a form of them feeling in control, because they don't feel in control of themselves. And as they don't feel in control of themselves, they got to keep calling up this woman, sending her text messages, bombing her phone. And then after bombing the phone, they got to send gifts, again, hoping to bribe this woman, and hope that if this makes her feel good, this will keep him in her good graces, and this will hopefully allow him to get opportunities to continue maintaining this relationship, when in actuality, all he has to do is basically just trust a woman. Again, men who are healthy basically just, again, gonna call maybe about once a week at the most, and set something up. And if you see each other, cool. And that's just the way it is. It's just, okay, I see her once a week, we cool. She's doing her thing, I'm doing my thing. If she want to get with me, she can get with me. And that's the way healthy guys are. But the nice guy, he'll just keep calling you. He'll just keep showing up places, again, thinking this is romantic, but this is not romantic at all. No, this is stalker behavior, and it's stalker behavior because he doesn't trust her to be loyal to him. And since he doesn't trust her to be loyal, he's got to keep constantly watching to make sure that she's loyal. And again, this type of relationship, eventually it becomes really grating for most women, because they feel like they can't have any space of their own. And since they feel like they can't have any space of their own, this is where they start to feel overwhelmed by this dude. And again, it causes trauma, because again, you're taking away somebody's agency and their autonomy from themselves. But the nice guy believes he is justified in doing that because he's believing this is how he wants to be a man. Now, on the flip side of this, after he gets that woman to trust him in some cases, what makes this relationship worse is that this is where the nice guy starts to express all of that anger I talked about previously, all that anger and contempt for women. And he will have all this anger at this woman because he basically is angry at himself that he could not go out here and state his true intentions. And when he gets the woman in the relationship with him, this is where the nice guy goes out here and cheats on the woman. He will cheat on this woman, and it'll be worse than the pookie or the womanizer or the player. At least in the womanizer and the player, they're letting you know they got other chicks on rotation, and you're just going to be one of those chicks on rotation. And pookie, you know that he run these streets and that other ladies is checking for him. So most women know what they getting with those guys. But with this dude, he basically is saying, oh, I will never cheat on you. I will always love you. Again, he will love you as a possession that he has. But when that possession starts to lose value to him, and this is where he starts to express his anger at himself and believes that he is entitled to go out here because he's such a good guy under the covert contract he created. Under the covert contract he created, he believes that he's such a good guy that he has a right and a justification to go out here and start seeing other women on the side. And because he believes that he's justified in doing this, when you find out he is cheating, this is where he goes into his own sense of arrogance, where he goes out here and says, you know, I was with you, I was loyal, and I'm justified in having a little fun. And again, that's heartbreaking because the woman invests all of her emotions in this dude. This dude who presented himself going out here saying, I will never cheat on you. I will never do this like this other guy. I won't do you wrong. But here he is going out here and doing the wrong. And as he's doing the wrong, he's coming up in your face, justifying all of the wrong he has participated in, feeling like it's his right to go out here and do that wrong, feels like he's justified in saying what he wants to say, and again, just cutting that woman up. And again, this is where he expresses all of his anger towards this woman, which is really anger at himself for not really stating his own true intentions. And the irony is that he shows his true character and shows how much of a monster he is, because after the woman invests her feelings in the nice guy then shows her even more contempt, than the pookie, the womanizer, or the thug, or the cad. Those guys at least are honest about themselves. But this guy, again, he sells himself as this good guy, sells himself as this ideal man. And again, it's an ideal he has inside of his head, an ideal he's presented about himself. And as he presents this ideal about himself, he shows her a real picture of manhood and masculinity that's monstrous. And as he shows her this picture, it basically traumatizes this woman because her experience with this nice guy makes her believe that she can't trust men, because if this is the so-called good ideal, then the other real men out here are even worse. And that's the damage that nice guys do to women. The nice guy does more damage to women than any other guy out here. I mean, he is the worst person in this whole social marketplace because he's just, again, a dishonest person and dishonest with himself. And being in a relationship with him just becomes really frustrating because you don't really know if you can trust him. And even worse than not knowing if you can trust him is that you don't know on any given day if you'll be dealing with Dr. Jekyll, who basically is the veneer of good, or Mr. Hyde, the monster. And in most cases, if a woman gets too close to the guy, he's just going to be a monster all the time. And that's why women, again, when they get involved with nice guys, wind up, again, even more broken and damaged than if they got involved with the pookie or the womanizer or the thug. They basically wind up becoming so psychologically damaged that they basically, again, need to go out here and get therapy and counseling, because this nice guy really is just a needy, insecure person who clings to them like the rapper on American Cheese. And as he clings to them, he's a vampire who sucks all the life out of a woman, sucks all the heart and the soul out of a woman. That's what these nice guys do. And again, one of the worst guys you could ever be with is a nice guy, because nice guys they start out looking like they're nice and friendly on the outside, but eventually look to, again, only make you an object in their world and basically want to possess a woman. They basically want to possess a woman, and as they possess the woman, they see her not as a person with her own thoughts, opinions, and views, and her own goals for life. No, they see her as an object they want to have in their smooth world, basically there to be an attachment on their arm or be this place where they can go out here and put the carbon rod in the atomic waste reactor. They see her as only there for sexual access, where they don't look to connect with that woman mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. No, they just want to go out here and basically just use this woman's body, and that does damage to the woman emotionally, because sex for women is emotional, and they want to bond and connect with this man. But this man doesn't want to bond and connect with her. No, he wants to go out here and only use her body so that he can go out here and brag to his male friends, because the relationship he's having with her is basically all about him elevating himself. He's a worse narcissist than any guy out here who's all about his looks. I mean, the nice guy is an egomaniac, and again, he's one of the worst guys a woman can get involved with, because he presents the veneer of good, but he's actually evil. And that's why the nice guy, again, does so much damage to women. I mean, from what my viewer experienced, that was just the tip of the iceberg with dealing with a nice guy. She just dealt with a guy who just couldn't take no. But there's even worse situations where women get involved with this nice guy, and as they get involved with this nice guy, they live to regret it, and it does damage to them, because they really can't have a relationship with men after that unless they go to get some psychotherapy or some counseling, because this guy does serious mental, emotional damage. He does such serious and emotional damage that these women have a hard time trusting men. They have a hard time connecting with men. They have a hard time bonding with men, because they're afraid that they're going to run into a guy who's going to become a Mr. Hyde. They're afraid they're going to run into a monster who won't know where the line is, who won't take no for an answer, who won't respect their boundaries, who won't be able to understand where when a woman wants to, again, be left alone, and they fear that if they get involved with another man, they may have to go out here and bring in police or restraint and in the courts with restraining orders, or may have to go get some fellas to go beat this guy down in order for him to understand where the boundaries are. I mean, this nice guy does so much damage. I mean, on the outside, he appears to be nice and is not nice at all. No, he's one of the worst sociopaths of the social marketplace, one of the worst sociopaths to ever grace the social marketplace, and he's the guy who basically hurts women more and has so many women, again, out here they're at the point where they basically don't even want to be involved with men, or in a place where they need some help because they've just been hurt so bad. I mean, nice guys do way more damage, again, than pookies and womanizers and thugs. And again, these guys are messed up in any way, shape, or form. But even worse than them is the nice guy, the mama's boy, the clean-cut guy on the outside, who basically turns into a monster on the inside. And he's basically the one who does so much damage that many women basically are never the same after they have a relationship or even look to even be a friend with them. Now, if you want to learn to identify the behaviors of nice guys, you can pick up my books like Stop Simping, Why Men Don't Need Finance to Get Romance, Manginas, They Look Like Men But They Act Like Ladies, and The Misadventures of Captain Save-'em, not to mention The Man Crisis, on Amazon.com, and that will take you into books that get you more in depth on the behavior of the nice guy and the beta male that he is, and the behavior that leads to him not being able to have healthy relationships with women or be able to identify these guys so that you can find a way to avoid them until they can go out here and get themselves some help. And you can find those books on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format, with the exception of Manginas and Misadventures of Captain Save-'em. Captain Save-'em is on Kindle Unlimited, and if you have Kindle Unlimited, you can read it for free. But you can find the other books I drafted digital and Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and big box retailers like Walmart and Target. And if you want to see me go more in depth on nice guys and take them to the barbecue and help me to stay on the air, You can drop a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback at e-readers, Isis, Dark Incubus. The goddess next door gets enthralled in a romantic entanglement with an evil incubus in this all-new Isis series adventure. Get your copy of Isis, Dark Incubus in paperback and e-readers today. Now available in paperback and e-readers, Isis, Revenge of the Cyber Goddess. The goddess next door takes on the threat of a deadly digital diva driven to destroy the world in this action-packed, all-new Isis series adventure. Get Isis, Revenge of the Cyber Goddess featuring a bonus pin-up and the other 2 books in the Cyber Goddess saga at online bookstores everywhere today. Now available in paperback and e-readers, The Temptation of John Haynes. Give in to temptation and pick up this action-packed African-American paranormal romance. Get The Temptation of John Haynes in paperback and e-readers today. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.